This is Eric Wayne with United Realty. I'm a business broker in Broward County. I service all of Florida, licensed since 1989. I'm one of the top agents in my office and in this field of construction. We do a lot of air conditioning and roofing businesses and construction-related industries. I wanted to just take a minute and go over your website real quick and show you how businesses are valued and show you the 31 solds of roofing businesses that our association, the Business Brokers of Florida Association, has sold over the last 20 years. There's about 1,100 specialty guys like myself that specialize in small businesses, although your business is not small, but it's still considered small to the government. So let me get started, and hopefully we can do some business together, and I can give you an exit strategy and bring you some cash buyers. First of all, I looked at your website. It looks very nice. We're very familiar with this. I have another roofing business in Pompano for sale right now, and I have one in Homestead that's under contract, and I've been involved with many of them. So I understand all the services. My team, we know the lingo, and we understand all this, the financing and the news. And just want to share with you a contract that we recently did for another roofing company. It was only a $500,000 sale. They came up with earnest money. They have a small note, cashier's check we'll do before closing. This is a 17-page contract. The association provides the contracts, so you don't need to have an attorney draft this at $350 an hour. It's included as part of our commission, so there's always a savings there, and has all the relevant clauses. I can get you a blank version of this, but this is my office, the brokerage, the Business Brokers of Florida. It's a standard form that we all use. It's kind of universal so that nobody feels that it's one-sided. So here again, this is a different business. It was an air conditioning business that we sold. You can see the initials on, down here. $400,000 transaction. And again, all the different clauses. When the time is right, if we work together, I can hopefully bring you one of those and make you really happy. Let me show you the association. This is the Business Brokers of Florida Association. As I mentioned, 20 years. Business brokers are a totally different animal than your residential guys. They don't know P&L, they don't know add backs. They know carpets and bedrooms and square footage. It's a different animal. So what this allows me to do, we can look at the solds. And I have all 67 Florida counties here, but since we're so narrow and you're not doing a search to buy a business, I'm going to just include all counties solds over the last 20 years, specifically under construction, not all the other categories. There's hundreds of categories and then subcategories. So just under construction alone, you can see all the subcategories that there are, but none of this pertains to you. So we don't want any of these solds to be part of our search because it's not relevant. So I pre-selected the roofing, and so these are all counties, all roofing. And let me do this search for you first so I could show you the entire universe of solds, and then I'll show you how we narrow it down. We can go from there. There are 31 that our association has handled, and as far as the earnings are concerned, these are the adjusted net that's on record from the owner, the largest being $5.3 million in profit, what we call adjusted net. Adjusted net is not what's on the tax return necessarily. Adjusted net is what's on the tax return plus anything that was a benefit to the owner in the way of cash that may have been intentionally or non-intentionally excluded from the bank statements, any personal bills, trips, vacations, any of the benefits. So we call it an adjusted net. My goal, what I do, is the opposite of what your tax attorney does. The tax attorney might say the business has $50,000 in profits, but when we do all the add backs, it might be a much higher number because the buyers will put more value on a more profitable business. You get a higher sold price. So that's pretty much how it works. But there were 31 solds. Now let's go back and see which ones are more relevant to what we have or what we're talking about. I could do a search by date, but I don't want to be that narrow yet. We can do that later if you wish. I could also do it by sales, but I don't want to do it that narrow. I'm going to do it by adjusted net. Now again, that's not the net that's on your tax return. That's the net that you and I are going to go over with the bookkeeper and figure out all the line by line of all the business expenses that may or may not have actually been a true business expense. And the way we test that is if you weren't the owner and a new owner was there, would it be an expense for the business? If that expense is not there, then it's personal, then it's profit, and that should be part of the adjusted net. To narrow down the solds, I'm going to go 500,000 or larger because I want to compare you to the bigger businesses that are more profitable and more successful like your own. I come back with 7 and I'm going to sort the sales. Again, these guys are smaller than you, these guys are larger. But the issue that I had, and I spent hours on this already, so I know where I'm going with this. There are 3 here that included real estate. So the real estate's going to throw off our averages, and I want to be careful to do that. So I'm going to do calculate averages. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to do 2435. That's got to come out. Okay, 47. That's got to come out. That included real estate and buildings and acreage and all sorts of stuff. And the 7813, that's got to come out. So if I do an average, it's going to be these 4 that I'm using as subject properties. Now, once I know more about the financials and the owners and your wishes and what you need and what you want and all that good stuff, we'll be more exact. This is the sold price and the adjusted net, the net with all of the add backs that the owner benefited from being an owner, or 2 owners. Generally, this is for 1 owner, and we can add back that second owner because that'll change things a little bit. We're talking about 1.64 times your 1.8 million, if that's an accurate number. After I get a hold of the numbers, it might be larger. This is the average of these 4, and you can see sales are 2 are smaller than your gross, and 2 are larger than your gross. 2 are smaller than your net, 2 are larger than your net, your adjusted net. So just for getting started, I wanted to share this with you. 1.64 times the 1.8, if that's a correct number, if that's a number we are going to go to market with, you're coming up with almost a $3 million sold price as an average. We could go higher, we could go lower. If you go lower, the odds are we can find a buyer quicker. The average days on market pre-coronavirus economy, you got to look at the dates when these were sold too, and I'll get into all that with you. In a healthy economy, it took 195 to achieve 1.64. In an unhealthy economy, the ratio might be the same, but it might be on the market a little bit longer. And I'll get into all that when we get to know each other. The average down payment was 91 cents on a dollar. So on 3 million, 10% of that 300,000, let's say, might be seller financing over a couple of years if you guys agree to do that. But we have a good trend of getting cash buyers. We might not need to do a down. But this is what the average was, and you can see here one guy took 70 cents down. Here's all cash, 93% down. This guy took 676 days to get sold to achieve that 1.41. And I'll tell you the reason that generally happens is guys, they start at 2, 3, 4, 10 times multiple because their accountant or their attorney told them that that's what they should be selling their business for. Well, when an accountant or attorney writes a check, then they're going to want these numbers because this is what they're actually going for. But this guy might have started at $5 million, and it took time for the agent or multiple agents to get him to become more reasonable and ultimately sell. So that's what might have happened there. Again, my name is Eric Wayne. I'm your favorite business broker. I'd love to talk to you further. I hope this helped. Any other further questions, please give us a call. We have a marketing agreement. I'll get that out to you. I don't determine the pricing, the asking pricing. This is just what willing buyers and willing sellers have agreed to. They found that that's what they had to do. The buyers had to pay those prices, and the sellers had to agree to it if they wanted to sell. Thank you. 954-562-2019. Eric Wayne. Thank you. Talk to you soon.